Yo guys, what's up and welcome back to another Fellowship SMP, but it's not fully usual as Fellowship SMP as usual. This is the creative server, that's why I'm flying around. This is why I have these monstrosities of builds behind me. It's because today we're going to be helping our friend Drek building some themed rooms for his new upcoming minigame. So a little bit different, but I'm gonna take you through it. So on my whiteboard here, I have hopefully edited in 5 points. 5 points we're going to be building out from today, because I don't know, sometimes when I do big projects it can be a little bit overwhelming and hard to know where to start and how to build the process, and these rooms were definitely a new challenge kind of thing for me, but I sat down and I brainstormed these 5 points. So yes, as you can see, there's 5 steps we're going to work on these 2 rooms, and I'm gonna do them simultaneously, and then hopefully it all makes sense and it's connected up well. Otherwise, editor me might have to have a talk with me later. But as you can see, the first thing is we're going to look at the shape of the room to give ourselves some boundaries. We want a layout to make sure what are we building, how is it going to look kind of within the frames. Any design things might come in here too. Components and functions is more like, you know, do you want things to have a function, or is it just aesthetics, or is there anything we need to look more into? That's an important point, I think, especially in these rooms, to make them a little bit more fun. The fourth one is details. This is where we really get into the nitty gritty things, where we get the small details in, maybe the shading, the color, the textures, all those things. I can't even remember them all. And then the last one, connect it all. When you have a room, you want to connect it all and put it all beautifully together. So hopefully that makes sense. That's the procedure for today, and hopefully I can stick to that procedure. I doubt it, but at least then I know I have something to follow on this list. So I'm trying something new. I tried to record the intro at the end, so I have hopefully explained everything there's valuable to know in the introduction. If I didn't, I might explain it later. For now, we're just jumping straight in. I have kind of looked at this project and been terrified a little bit, because it is something new, a little bit out of my skill set, I would feel, but I'm pretty optimistic and I think we can do it. I'm just breaking it into sections. So we have 2 rooms, and the first thing we're going to get into is creating the shapes and the sizes of the room. They are going to be very different. You can see some examples here behind. I'm going to go in and do my own little thing. The cinema might be a little bit smaller and the bowling alley might be a little bit bigger. I'm gonna play around with that, and we just upgraded the servers to 1.21.8, which is great. I love that update. It's gonna be fun, but my tool World Edit isn't working on the creative server, so sometimes that happens, hiccups. It helps me though. I can sit down a little bit more in the creative process, but of course for you it just feels like seconds.
5 minutes later.
So the first thing is of course the shape I wanted to work on, and I have boxed up, as you maybe can see, the other room has been shaped over there, but let's focus on the cinema here first. The cinema has of course the screen, and then of course a little bit longer, and I'll go by a 20x30 room. That doesn't mean though it's gonna stick to that. When I do these kind of layouts, I kind of give myself these boundaries to kind of limit myself for not going too big, but still also give myself the management of like playing around with the creative space in here. So I might make it shorter, I might make it full longer, so we will see. But now I'm gonna start making the layout. Thinking more about shape and layout, they pretty much go hand in hand, but of course when you have this shape, it's more like this is where you create your, as I said, creative boundaries in a way. Like this is what you bind yourself to. Can do a little bit adjusting, but basically this is what I've done. And now with this space I've created, I'm gonna create a layout and work within this area here I created for myself. So hopefully we can make a nice bowling alley with all the different features we want. So regarding the layout, I built first up the screen, and then I put in the staircase afterwards, trying to get the proportion of the distance to the screen and the size of the staircase and how I can make each row just to give an idea, and then I added light in just to show that effect I wanted to build on. I also looked under the color walls we wanted to build here. I had blue, and we were discussing a little bit back and forth. We wanted to do red or brown, but we chose to go with the red one because it was way nicer with it. Another fun thing about the whole layout is always the sizes of the room, you know. Sometimes you might be like, oh, it's too narrow then, because if I wanted to do one space in between, but it seemed to work out perfectly, because if I want, I know I'm already doing a little bit in section 3 with components and function, but if I wanted to these chairs, I need kind of this, we can call it 3 out of 4 quarters space, and that's what is really important here as well, to get some of the details we want to add later. And you know, sometimes when you do the layout, you want to make sure that those components you want to make things happen with can really still function. So I think that works really well. The banners works as armrests and give some color. I might change the floor around. I'm gonna of course look at color schemes later and stuff like that, but with this layout, maybe there's some details that can be added in, like some cup holders here in the front or something like that, to just make it not as big and wide each step. But I'm gonna play a little bit more around with the layout and see how it works. I think the color scheme here with the red terracotta works, and I think with the layout, of course, we're gonna take a little bit off the top as well, so I will do that. So as I was finishing up the layout part of the build, I had 2 friends join me, Blake and Blue, and they had to make a little bit fun of how the room was looking.
Theater going.
Like, exactly. So it was this was built under COVID. That's literally I was thinking the exact same thing, you know.
No date nights here.
Yeah, no. Oh, no. That's the other. That's the other.
You could have
that's
some
not
double
this room.
ones.
No,
Yeah,
no, no.
sometimes like in the back, no?
No, the double ones is in the other room. This is
okay.
the normal one. It's for couples that needs to watch a movie, but their partner is so annoying that they always whisper under the movie, so then they're safe for getting the annoying conversation when they're watching the movie.
Do we need to have a talk with Cece?
I think she would love this place for that reason.
Oh, we need to have a talk with you.
Yeah. Oops.
Oh, yeah, you need this.
So the fun thing now, when I'm planning out the layout, I'm planning out 4 bowling alleys, and then I have a buffer here with a line where we can maybe fill in something. I don't know if I'm just gonna run a black line or if I'm gonna push the wall in. We will see. But basically, like I was just talking to Dude, the others are hanging out doing some sorting madness or something. I kind of got caught away with it, and you know, I got a bowling ball here, and I started making function and things too. Look at that. Please slide in. There you go. So that is functioning, and then there's a pressure plate you step on here, and then you can see it picks up the bowling ball, takes it back, and then I'm gonna make some sort of collecting system then that tracks the back up here, and then you can just press this dispenser, whoop, and then you get a new bowling ball kind of thing, you know. So I got a little bit into function with the next step, but I think that's okay. I'm gonna copy these layouts, so we're kind of doing layout and components and function, and then I'm gonna try to do the seating area and start making on as a player head and start working on the arcade part and the entrance and stuff like that. With some pool tables, it's probably gonna be more in the components and details, but just lay out different floors and arcade machines. Sorry for a hiccup. But yeah, that's pretty much just gonna be the first part of the layout here. So as I was in between adding in the bowling lanes, I got some company, and you know, sometimes when you've been really focused and try to be good, you get distracted, and I got very much distracted. So I thought that's part of the building process. So let me just show you what crazy stuff we found out, and maybe potential new minigame coming. So I was just having, I'm just gonna record this as this is what happens when you sidetrack, kind of. What? Okay, one more. Oh no! No! We broke the game. Another one though. Another one. We just made it. Well, holy cow! I got airtime. We just made a new TNT cannon. Who needs all complicated redstone? You can just. Uh-oh. Poof. Oh no, my wall. Oh. Probably not get over to what I'm building on right now. Oh, well, I think break time is up for me, guys. Holy shit. Okay, I was building it and I just got teleported. Okay, now break time is over. So basically, I worked a little bit more into details with the bowling alley, with a retrieving system for the bowling balls and stuff. More to look into later, of course, but now I'm gonna copy it out maybe and just have more of that and finish the walls. I have also started to design some details outside, but I'm gonna design the floor here for the arcade area. Try to have that looking good. So we have the bowling alley here and then some arcades with some funky floors and stuff like that. So hopefully I can find a good design for this. So after a little break in between, you know, doing everything, I've copied all the different bowling alley layouts. They're all similar. Could have reversed them, but maybe I'll do that later. But with the redstone, I just thought copy them over. And then I designed the arcade floor, which is gonna be down here. And then we're gonna do another layer above as well. And I'm gonna create a staircase and stuff like that. With a little half hanging over floor. I think that's gonna look good. Then we have like a fence gate. I might even add it out like one or two further. Added in a little bit of light just to see how that looked. So I think it's coming along really well with the layout. I think we have the layout ready. And now the components and functions, which I already have done a little bit of, is ready to be added in to complete more of the room before we finish the whole thing up. But it's getting along really well. I'm really satisfied. The details and everything. So the Fellowship SMP bowling alley looks nice. Much better. The color scheme here works well. I also worked, I'm not 100% sure because, you know, when you're sitting, kind of don't want people kicking your head. So it's nice with a little bit of a backrest, but they look a little bit out of place. But I think it works pretty well like this as well. Now they're very spaced out and very few, and maybe could even due to the function I'm gonna have to add in later, it makes sense that I do this. But what I might do, actually, I might push everything a little bit forward. And this is what fun, you know, you go along, you look at the layout and you're like, I can maybe adjust that a little bit. And that's what I'm gonna do. So let me just adjust these things a little bit, move it forward, and then see how it works with just two wide aisles, I guess you can call it. See, here I am inventing a really smart thing for like for a function, and then you just come here and say, do you know about a redstone lamp? This is why I can't build with people around, because then I'm here over engineering things, you know. That's what I do for a living. I'm an engineer. I over engineer things sometimes. Okay,
Hang on, leave it there. We're taking a screenshot of it, and I'm labeling it Chris's redstone lamp.
Oh yeah. Oh, jeez. This is what I'm doing to help other people get mocked. Here I thought I was really smart with making this function, because I could make it go like dunk dunk dunk, and I was like, oh, so smart with delays and everything and the switch. And nope, this is of course a thing I thought about, because, you know, sometimes it's smart to switch out blocks, and I was like, oh, you can switch out your light blocks. Well, of course, redstone lamps. I'm gonna go again, guys. Have fun. I'm gonna. Why am I always overcomplicating
I'm gonna see if anybody
things?
else gets it.
I'm overcomplicating things. It's so...
How long did it take you to make this?
5 minutes.
Okay, then that's fair enough.
Yeah, it was from a previous circuit I used for like a crafting table from a tutorial, and then I couldn't remember where I found it, so I was like using my memory.
I think it's
Anyhow,
like
Yeah.
Malmo's favorite redstone circle or something.
Oh,
Like
I'm
table
probably
switch.
gonna start using that in some rooms because it's really smart, you know. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like if we should do it properly, like, you know, if you want to, let's say you want
Edie wants to know how it works.
you want your auto crafter and you want your crafting table, then you can just be.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Oh, now I broke it. Great. So there you go. Now you can just be like, oh yeah, oh well. Yeah, I want my crafting table to be shown. I don't want it to be shown. I want it to be shown. Should I go and explain Edie how it works? Should I really waste my time
absolutely.
on that? Oh my, okay. So I'm a little bit silly. I watched the last clip and I had forgot to remove my mini HUD overlay with the light levels. As you can see, the light levels here are a little bit low, but that's something to be fixed in this and the next point with the details I'm gonna add in. But right now I'm gonna show you how exactly I have set this up to work now, because you know, the bowling alley actually is a component that has a function. It's not just aesthetics, but if you throw, let's see if we throw it and it lands, hopefully I did good. Yeah, then the cone disappears over here, and then I can take another bowling ball and throw it for the middle one. And basically it's not like proper bowling where you can get 200 points. It'll be more like the golf principle where you have to hit or throw the least amount of time to get all the cones down. And I got a strike here, you could say. So I got all 3 down in 3 tries. To reset, I just step on this pressure plate here, send some mine carts off. Oof, they reset. And then you can see the bowling balls should pop up here. I don't know if they did. Oh well. Maybe something went wrong downstairs. I'll look at it after. But basically, yeah, I'm gonna name them differently because they can stack. So I'm gonna name them different sizes of bowling balls and stuff to add a little bit more to the detail. But yeah, pretty much done all that all the way around. So the bowling field is not just aesthetics. It actually has a function. It's a component that play a fun part in this room. And I'm pretty satisfied with this pattern. I've put in the roof on the bottom floor of the arcade to make sure that, you know, it looks good and well lit. So when we put in the walls with the different colors and all of that for the spunk, as I'm gonna call it, for the arcade, it's gonna look good. It's also giving some light out here, but as you can see, we're still a little bit low around the area here of the chair. So I might figure something out with placing some sort of cool light around here. I need to figure that out. Another thing I forgot to mention regarding function is actually underneath I have packed blue ice, and that's because blue ice makes the blocks definitely slide better. I could have done it so it wasn't on slabs, but I just thought, you know, of getting the aesthetics off the bowling alley, it was nicer to hide it away. Cover that up as well. So yeah, I'm probably gonna try to add in some lights probably on these here, some sort of like funky lamp of some sorts. I don't know. I'm gonna try to see what I can make look good with the whole theme here. Also went with the staircase because I'm gonna make an upstairs. I'm gonna make a stair in the corner, and like, you know, orange is gonna work better, and because I think I'm gonna work with some purple. It's gonna look really spunk. I might change the color scheme a little bit of this room, but I think it could be good. I need to change that ceiling thing as well. I'm gonna try to maybe do some air vent stuff. I'm not 100% sure how I can do that, but ayo, it's things to play with, it's things to do. Just wanted to give a little update on the light thing, and I think it's a nice little pattern. No, I have placed the center. Just because of the stairs here, it gives a little bit off-centered, but it works. So yeah, I'm gonna play around with a light here around the bowling alley area, something that might not be too powerful, and then yeah, see what happens next with some of the walls and all of that, because that is also an important component to give the right vibe. I know it's a little bit all over, but My brain is getting a little bit scattered because I have so many fun ideas, but I'm having fun, so that's what matters when you build. So have fun with what you build, even though it might not go the order you want it to go in. So currently I turned off the lights because I kind of wanted to see how the room was, but a detail now we're gonna add. I know I already added in all the details with the banners and everything. The detail we're gonna add in now is the screen, and I went over and I built map art with sea lanterns, which creates a pretty white surface. So by doing this, you know, we get this, but we also wanted to have light. So I think I'm gonna do it there. Go 1, 2, up. Set sea lantern. There we have our screen. We filled it all up with. See if I can do this. There we have it. The screen looks pretty good. I might have to reconsider if I want to add one more layer here at the top or not. Likewise with the bottom, because I also wanted to kind of have some area to kind of show the canvas as well. And so that detail is working pretty good as well. Especially with the light behind the block, it adds some more detail to the whole thing. So as you saw earlier, I definitely engineered the whole idea of lights in the cinema. I wanted them to turn on and off at the same time at the bottom and the top to make it more synchronized. And I did end up using redstone lamps underneath instead of the block switch, as was definitely way too overcomplicated. But the timing of all the repeaters at the bottom or underneath the floor and on top of the roof was not that easy. But after tinkering a while, we actually managed to get a pretty good synchronization of the top and bottom. Not 100% perfect, but sometimes you can just get as good as you can with what you have, and I would say 98% there, pretty much, give or take some tolerance, but I think it turned out pretty good. Okay, now they match when you turn them on, but when you turn them off, there's a little bit desync. Oh. So the details of this room is more like an arcade, and I had played around outside creating some table tennis, some pool table, and air hockey, and I also played around a little bit. I could have maybe shown this on video. I just thought it was finicky, just, you know, picking out some blocks, making it look good. Made a little corner door, filled in the walls, made 2 pool tables here behind the bowling alley, you know, just some different 2 clubs, different ball placements. I could potentially move around a little bit with the clubs placement maybe, because it is kind of just copy and paste what I've done so far. We made a little upstairs area as well, where we did 2 arcade machines with a little corner couch, the air hockey with some chairs on the side, a table tennis, and a little dance screen, like, you know, like one of those fun things. And then the view up here. Also another little detail I fixed was this here, and also because the lecterns here actually emit light, so a detail I did was place light underneath the black concrete here to then light up the area a little bit more, which definitely added. I think it's fairly good. I wanted to make some, like, you know, you can make some walls with different arts of banners and stuff like that, but with Drake building this and creating all the banners and stuff, I will leave that up to him probably to look into building that way and all of that. So as I said in the start of the video as well, I made these 5 points just to give myself some kind of wiggle room to work within, to give myself a procedure to get started with a project, because sometimes when I start projects I don't know fully about, I need to maybe put like a to-do list or some sort of like action plan. That's what I've done with these 5 points. So when it comes to connecting it all, like, I have pretty much done that in the whole process of this room, which, you know, it's not always like that. When you build something, it's not always possible to connect it as you go, but thankfully sometimes you have it, and sometimes thankfully not, because then it's more fun to connect the whole thing afterwards. But this room was pretty fun to connect straight away, so I think I'm pretty satisfied with it. I'm gonna show Drake it, and then hopefully we'll hear what he has to say, and we've done pretty good. And then when I heard what Drake thinks of it, I will let you guys know. So at the end of it, when Drake came around to, I had to show him off, like I was trying to connect everything, but I wanted to pinpoint 2 details, and it was that I was missing banners in the back. I thought the banners in the back of the bowling lane actually gave a lot of new depth, which was a nice little detail I hadn't thought about until I was like running around looking at it. Another detail was that Drake noticed on the floor that the lighting was different, and that's because when you do a skulk floor and use skulk catalysts, they actually emit light, but they have a little bit more of a twinkle, but they blend in really well with the skulk. So if you want to do a skulk floor, definitely consider adding in skulk catalyst as a little detail. So yeah, now we got the light synced up. So if I sit down and I stand up, it turns off on and on at the same time, which is really nice. So it's synced. I thought, oh well, we can add a little flare here, and that's kind of the last thing, you know, connecting everything. And you could argue that this is also some details. I think they will add in some posters and stuff like that. You sometimes reach a point where you need to step away, and I need to do that now, and then I will come back. So I'll sit down and watch a movie with some popcorn and a soda I can steal from my neighbor. So how Drake is gonna make this happen, I'm not sure. I just made 2 exits entrances, which is kind of part of the requirement for the room. So a small little easy redstone torch, or sorry, redstone lever door, both from the inside and outside. Fairly easy, very simple. I will let him adjust it how the whole room, the tunnels are gonna be, but I think the entrances works pretty well up here. So I'm a little bit silly because I was talking to Drake and we're talking about how the whole room was connected, all the details and stuff like that. We added and twisted on some small things like the letters on the wall with the Fellowship SMP. We centered that better. And we talked a little bit about bowling shoes and how when the shelves comes out into Minecraft, it's going to be a good addition, and you can make some sort of a stall where you can have bowling shoes, and, you know, just talk a little bit about how things connected up, what could have done more with wall arts or like banner details and that kind of stuff, the arcade machines. Had a really good talk. I was just being silly, running back and forth, so he cut out all the time because I wasn't in a proximity group with him. But that's why I'm doing this voiceover, so I'm sorry, Drake. Yeah, there you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Very different from what I usually do, but I thought it was a fun way to kind of include you in creating these dream rooms for Drake's minigame. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments if you have any feedback. I always appreciate that, so I can keep improving and becoming better. And also consider liking the video, and then I'll see you for the next Fellowship video. Thank you for watching.